State Supreme Court justices described this case as complicated and emotional with the stay-at-home order on the line. Today, we saw a contentious debate as both parties were intensely questioned. The state Supreme Court convened virtually to hear a case that could impact millions of Wisconsinites. At issue, whether the Department of Health Services has the authority to close non-essential businesses and order people to stay home.
We know of no order that is more sweeping or that applies to more people than Emergency Order 28 in the history of our state.
Republicans in the state legislature are suing DHS, particularly Secretary-designee Andrea Palm, alleging an abuse of power. Legislative attorney Ryan Walsh asked the court to decide whether DHS violated state law by extending the stay-at-home order and whether it has the authority to enforce it through criminal citations.
The department therefore needs to do what it should have done in the first place. Sit down at a table with the very body whose powers it exercises and which created the department in the first place.
Under Governor Evers' emergency declaration, DHS was designated as the lead agency in response to the public health crisis.
In the midst of the deadliest pandemic the world has faced in over a century, the legislature asks this court to handcuff DHS's power to combat infectious disease.
When it was Colin Roth's turn to defend Palm and DHS officials, he was pressed by several judges.
Where in the Constitution did the people of Wisconsin confer authority on a single unelected cabinet secretary to compel almost 6 million people to stay at home?
Roth argued that the state would face a massive spike in cases if the order was overturned and everything went back to normal.
The cases in Brown County in the span of 2 weeks surged over tenfold.
Today's hearing lasted about 2 hours. The state Supreme Court broke for lunch, then came back in closed session this afternoon to discuss the hearing. We haven't heard of a timetable as to when they're supposed to take a vote, but political experts expect a quick decision. Ben Jordan, TMJ4 News.
Ben, thank you for that. Wisconsin's Attorney General Josh Kaul issuing this statement on the lawsuit, reading in part, the legislator's suit, which asks for safer at home to be struck down, is beyond reckless and endangers the health and security of Wisconsinites. Instead of prematurely declaring victory, crossing our fingers, and hoping for the best, we must continue working to stamp out the coronavirus with a plan based on input from public health professionals.